Okay.
Or are you going to do increments?
I think we are live.
Yeah. You good? Okay, I'll do one.
Okay, sweet. All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to tonight's training. We've got a treat for you tonight. So last minute, we had to switch this to virtual, but because there's a Christmas party that we didn't realize it kind of overlapped with the training. So in order to give you guys the maximum amount of value, we are still going to do this training. And the treat that we have for you tonight is we're going to be dissecting Matteo Rasmussen's Salesman of the Year, best summer that we've ever seen at Moxie Pest Control. 1,243 general pest control accounts serviced. And so we're going to be dissecting his processes, his performance, and then going to be actually role playing with Matteo and showing you exactly from a sales perspective. Now, there's a lot that goes into servicing 1,000 accounts, right? But from a sales perspective, how did Matteo service 1,243 accounts? And is that something that is unattainable for anyone else? I don't think it is, and I think that's what you're going to see tonight. So we're going to get right into the presentation. I've got a couple of things that I want to start off with before we bring in our special guests, plural, tonight, okay? Here we go. So, if this is actually sharing, give me just a second, guys. As in all live streams, can get a little tricky. All right. So, if I can, okay, here we go. So this is I titled tonight's training the Teo 1K Deep Dive, which is going to be, this is awesome. We could honestly do an entire, 10 trainings on what Matteo did to achieve the success he did this summer. And in fact, we have a little mini series going that's, I don't quite know what it actually is, but we'll be releasing that slowly over time to really dissect in depth, like how this all started and like Matteo's process from top to bottom. But tonight specifically still provide maximum value on the sales training things that Matteo did and what his performance looked like during the summer. I first, though, want to highlight, every training we always highlight somebody from operations, right? And because that's like what we're all about at Moxie, is being able to deliver the highest quality service in the industry to our customers so that we're following through with our mission, which is to improve the quality of life of our customers, our team, and our community. And Michael Hoffman is an excellent example of how we actually deliver on that promise to our customers from our operations, from the service perspective. So Michael Hoffman, excuse some of the noise here. There's some blaring horns outside, but Michael Hoffman, he's a branch manager for us in Austin. I got the chance to work with Mike in Dallas, and he is an incredible human being. But Mike started in door-to-door sales. Typically, our more seasoned operations people start in door-to-door sales and work for us and kind of go through the ranks of our sales program and then transition into operations. But Mike actually has a unique story where he sold for 3 different pest control companies before he didn't come to sell for Moxie. He came to work for Moxie in operations. So Mike, he got into operations with the last company that he sold door-to-door for. And he was just kind of with like the quality of service that they had. It's a competitor in our industry. And this was not too long ago. But with just after being sick of not being able to deliver like what they were promising from the sales side to the customers, he started to look around for feel good about the service and delivering for the customers that they were servicing their homes. And so he came and interviewed with us. And Mike has an interesting story where he walked. So when he was interviewing with us, he had the chance to go to a couple of trainings, our technician or field expert trainings before he was actually hired as part of his interview process. So he flew to Dallas, went to a couple of the technician trainings. And keep in mind, I didn't mention this, but keep in mind that Mike, at his previous company that he was servicing homes at, that he was doing operations at, the one that he had sold for, the last company he'd sold for that he went into operations, he was a branch manager in training. So he was a service manager becoming a branch manager. This wasn't just a guy who was going around servicing the homes. He was managing those people, right? And that's an important detail to the story. So here's why. He's in one of our trainings with our technicians, and he gets out of that training, and I've heard him tell this story multiple times. He gets out of this training, and he's like, I have to work for these guys. And I interviewed Mike on a podcast for our internal podcast, and what he said was like, why did you feel like compelled to work for us after one training with our kind of baseline not low level. That sounds derogatory, but I'm just basically saying like our entry level technician job, our field experts. Why did you feel like you had to work for us after being in a training with them? And he said, your guys's technicians, your field experts who were the least trained, who were the least certified, they knew more about pest control, about entomology, about bugs than I did as a branch manager in training at my previous company. And once I realized that the lowest level certified person for Moxie as a field expert knew more about doing quality professional pest control on homes than I did at my previous company as someone who was supposed to be leading those people, he's like, I had to come work for you guys. Like I whatever it took, I was going to make it happen. So a couple interesting facts. I love that story, by the way, but a couple interesting facts about Mike is that he went to BYU Idaho and studied business management. He's been married for 7 years. He's got one daughter, and saying that Mike is obsessed with serving others, even still as strong as that is, an understatement. He's an incredible human being that has just got an amazing heart. But the cool part about his pest control expertise is that he's the highest level master technician certification that you can possibly get. It's called ACE certified. That's a really big deal in our industry. It's very, very uncommon to have even one or two people in your entire company that are ACE certified. And we have dozens and dozens at ours that are ACE certified. So that's really cool. All right. Now, in our trainings, typically, you guys know that we like to do a salesman highlight, and then we go on into paraverbals and body language, and we talk about how to say certain things and be compelling with that. Today's going to be different. We're not going to do this standard. What we're going to have is a couple special guests join us, and we're going to just dissect and go through our salesman of the year and his processes. But before we do that, I want to just watch Mateo's this really cool video about Mateo. So enjoy. Here we go. Let me see if I can get this on.
This job, selling door to door, is hard. But I find as I consistently put in the work, my definition of hard changes. On a day-to-day basis, my day looks pretty similar. I wake up, I do affirmations, I go to the gym. And I also always do an ice bath. I have an edge over most people by doing something hard earlier on. Then begin selling around 1. I'll go till about 9:30, 10 most days. This year, a big thing for me has been consistency. So if I can do the same thing over and over again, then my keeping an even keel is a lot easier. One piece of advice I would give anyone doing this job: make the decision to be great and make the decision to be that best version of yourself.
Man, that's pretty awesome. I get the chills every time I watch that video. I've seen it, I don't know, maybe a few dozen times, and it's the reason why that I start to even feel emotional about what Mateo did this summer, just because I've been able to witness from afar at first, and then even up close in a lot of his journey, where Mateo's come from, and it is an incredible story, and it just gets me freaking pumped to sell pest control and to be a better person. Okay, guys, so right now what we're going to do is we're going to take 10 minutes or so and have Evan Myers, who talk about being here from the beginning of Mateo's journey. Evan is the reason why Mateo's here. Evan recruited Mateo, was his team leader Mateo's first summer in Denver, and has been here for the entire time. He was his trainer, manager, and the office leader in Dallas last year, where Dallas had the highest per rep average in the entire company of general pest control serviced. Incredibly impressive what they did in Dallas this summer, what their crew's done, and he's seasoned and experienced. And Evan's going to be dissecting briefly. Again, we could go into this for a long time, but Evan's going to be dissecting briefly some of Mateo's processes this summer, what he did to have success, and highlight some of his performance. And then after that, I'm going to come in and do role plays with Mateo And I'm going to specifically show you guys from the customer's perspective, and then from like you replicating how to do those things on the doors from that perspective, how anyone can do this type of stuff. I'm going to show you what worked in his sales pitch on the doors to actually make him compelling to listen to in any given sale, so that he was closing literally everyone in the neighborhoods that were actually closable. So I'm going to do that at the end there, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see what these guys talk about. So we'll have Evan and Mateo come over and do kind of like a, I guess, podcast style, and enjoy, guys. We'll see you in a second. Let me actually unshare this guy. Okay. We can keep this right here for now while they're just standing up, right? Okay. Yeah, just come right over here, guys. And as long as you're kind of just standing on either side here, you don't need to be looking at the camera or anything. You can if you want, but it just feel free to talk to each other as not weird as possible in this situation. And just this mic will catch whatever you guys need. So, okay.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, guys, a big thing, mainly I want to let you talk. You're the expert. But I want to go over your habits from during the day while you're selling, kind of leading into that a little bit before. But I really want to focus on what were you doing during the day, during those selling hours, to really make your time the most effective. Because that's what we all have. We all have the same amount of time, but what were you doing differently than everybody else to make you succeed?
Sure. I think in order to succeed on the doors, I had to succeed off the doors. So I'm not going to go into a ton of like my routine off the doors, but just to lead out with that is I felt as I couldn't win on the doors if I wasn't successful off, if I wasn't making and keeping the commitments that I set.
Right.
That being said, with a successful morning, being out on the doors, everything was about consistency and going in with intention. It's so easy, had this like being my third year, to really feel that if you don't go in, like if it's not a race to the first door, it's the easiest to make that excuse to stop at the gas station on the way, get a porta potty on the way to
It's
area.
Like even on your drive to area.
Right, hang out in the car. But if I'm understanding what you're asking, what is a few things that I think made the difference? I think I was going to be the first one on the doors and the last one off. And it was like kind of a race, and it was almost a competition with myself to make sure I was that.
Okay. So, I guess I was wrong. You did have more time than us. That's awesome. So first one on, last one off.
Yep.
Right when you hit the doors, what's kind of your attitude going into those first couple of doors? Like that first, 30 minutes or so on the doors.
Yeah, so it's honestly just talking to people. So I learned pretty early on that the hours between like 1 and 3, it's not smart to knock every single door. And reason being is because that's when everyone's either at work or like working from home. And if they're working from home, odds are they don't want to talk to you or they don't have the time. So I found my time was most effectively spent in front of someone else. So I got a lot better as the summer went on as identifying a house that someone was home based on like oil spots in the driveway. You can tell if they were like parked in the driveway or not.
Okay, so the oil spots are there. No car, don't go, because there's a car normally parked there.
Right.
Makes sense. What else were you looking for?
Open blinds. Okay. A lot of like easiest one was like an open garage door. Okay. If I can hear a dog outside, odds are I'll think their owners aren't going to leave a dog outside if they leave. And so I found that one was like super helpful. But so I'd say like blinds are the easiest one. If the newspaper's on the driveway, I'm not going to knock it. Odds are they're either not up or they're just like not in town. It's the summer, so a lot of people are out of town. I'd get a lot of information from neighbors asking who's home.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and they'll like I can mark down before I knock their house that they're not even home, so I don't have to like waste my time re-knocking. Yep. And my whole paradigm, like my lens that I was viewing the day is, if I can talk to X amount of people, get myself in front of them, like use my time in that way, talking to people, that's when I can
obviously sell more people. It's like kind of a numbers game.
Right.
Pretty much.
This is like wasting your time knocking.
Mhm.
Right. Okay. What else is going on in your mind through the day? So say, I know there's a lot of common misconceptions of kind of limiting beliefs that people have.
Sure.
How did you deal with those?
So it's a funny story. As 2 years ago, my second summer, that was my first summer in Dallas, and it's coming from a unsaturated market to a very saturated market.
Yep.
I
That's
had
a
a
big roadblock for
I
most
had a really, really hard time with that. And
Wait, what word did you just say? Did you say saturated, bro?
so I think I said the S word.
I hate that word, saturated. Scratch whatever that was.
But Hayden was there. We couldn't get permits. We knocked Fort Worth, the city of Worth, 4 times. And it was like
I remember that, yeah.
going
That
into
was
an
awesome.
area knowing like with preconceived notions of what people are already going to tell me before they even open the door, like putting words in their mouth, me reading their mind, and actually recognizing that and flipping the script to where no, like the reason they've talked to so many people is because they're the number one, the most bugs here. Number 2, this is like, I don't want to say the most fruitful area, but the reason Dallas is because Texas itself is like the economy is growing, the unemployment rate is low, so like the retention is great, and flipping that script as far as area goes was where I want to say like seeking out areas that have been like hit, knowing that they have that seed planted of, I'm assuming they have pest control. That's awesome because I don't need to convince them of why pest control.
Yeah.
It's now just why Moxie instead of why pest control
and why you.
and Moxie. Correct.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's cool.
Kind of just eliminates one of those because they have it, they already see the value, which is nice.
So you're saying that, I'm just going to clarify this, you're hitting area that was hit 3 times by not only by Moxie alone, let alone by all the other companies.
Sure. No,
That's awesome.
exactly. And yeah, the most common one is like, yeah, you've already been here when we already have.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, no, that was my favorite one because it's like,
yeah.
that's why I'm here because you're not a customer yet. So yeah, I'm glad they told you. I'd be like, you're like expecting me. It kind of feels like.
Okay.
And sorry, go on.
Like what you said you did, I just want to clarify. So you're going into a market that's, there's a lot of companies.
There's a lot
of companies that like to knock there.
Yeah.
It's seen as a favorable market, but you said that you kind of reprogrammed yourself, shifted your paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's that limiting belief. How did you deal kind of with limiting beliefs in general? What was your process there? Because you talked about it just now and you kind of went over it, but kind of go through your process of how you eliminate either doubt and limiting beliefs.
So in terms of performance, there's a couple things I want to highlight there is, so I knew to achieve this goal that I had, I would have to knock hours that I'm not usually used to knocking. So for example, between 9 and 10 p.m. And I used to have this huge limiting belief.
And later. A lot later.
Am I allowed to say that? But most years I'd end around 9:15, depending on like how dark it is or how long it's been dark. But I really had to like ask myself, does this serve, like as simple as it sounds, but does this belief that I have serve my definite purpose? And regardless, if the answer is no, regardless of how true it is, I'm not going to adopt it.
That's awesome.
Because the problem with excuses, the problem with beliefs is that whatever you validate it's valid. That's the problem. And once I recognize that, is that it's a conscious choice. That's kind of when my lens changed in just viewing just beliefs, not just the limiting beliefs, but empowering beliefs in general.
Yeah.
In terms of performance, I would say between 9 and 10 p.m., I got so many sales and just made use of that time so well because I adopted the belief that between 9 to 10 p.m., there's so many people that are usually not home.
Yeah.
And regardless of how true it is, and
it chose to let that empower you.
Right.
Okay. And same thing with Saturday nights. Can you talk a little bit about your Saturday schedule?
Yeah. So I viewed my entire week as leading up to Saturday. And one thing I did that I think would distinguish myself as soon as like, just from how I paradigm standpoint, just like how I viewed it, was Saturday nights were just the easiest way to say it was like a gold mine. It was something that I had never really been used to doing, that we started kind of, I guess, 2 summers ago, where we do it off and on. But I noticed that I was talking to a lot more people. And once I realized that number one, I was talking to a lot more people, but people who are working all week are finally home Saturday night.
That nobody else is going to catch.
No one
throughout the whole
else,
week.
because no one else, reality is no one else is knocking Saturday night.
Yeah.
And the fruits of my labor is like, those were like, if we're talking like my prime time of the week, it was Saturday between 5 and 11 p.m.
That's awesome.
And Saturday nights, I'll say it again, you guys have heard me say, is if you're not doing it, like you're missing out.
Yeah. That's awesome.
In terms of performance.
Yeah. So that's kind of what led to night times and Saturday knocking.
Right.
Okay. What else do you see yourself having done that was very unique from every other salesman around you during the knocking hours?
Oh, during the knocking hours?
Everything.
He just said everything, but no, that's not true. I'll kind of give you guys like a protocol. Something that you can apply next summer is take a piece of paper and review last summer and write down everything that you either didn't like or that you wish you had done better. And for me, where I'm going with that is one of those huge things that I kept underlining was my focus on the doors. I knew if I'm someone who's very, I guess I'll use the word impulsive, where my attention is easily grabbed. And if I enjoy doing it, then it's not hard to like concentrate on doing it. But so for example, like my phone, I would get very distracted on just texts, taking phone calls, not necessarily like social media, but a lot of just, I didn't view as nothing serves my purpose on my iPad or my phone besides sales routes and the Photos app.
Okay, so you're talking about like texting and calling on the doors.
Right.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the easiest thing for me to do in that was eliminate that. So prior to the summer, I was like, I made that list, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna choose to put my phone either on airplane mode or do not disturb, turn off all notifications, do the same thing for my iPad, to where no one's getting a hold of me unless they're like having a stroke, or even so, they're probably calling you.
Even then, yeah.
I won't answer. But the thing is people understood that I didn't compromise on that. And then that's what I found myself doing, is I would tell myself this, now I have to make the decision again if I really wanted to do it, go back and forth, wasting so much of this mental energy instead of just making the decision once and then keeping that through the entire summer, astronomically easier. If we're using that example for on the door focus in terms of just shutting everything out. And I get it, it's like unrealistic for a lot of people, but I think like if you really have an audacious goal, like be real with yourself, like
with what it's
going to take, like in terms of on the doors, like where's your mind at?
Yeah. I think what you just said, I want you to say it one more time, but you made the decision how many times?
Once.
Literally once before the summer started, and that was it. Like never again did you change your mind of what apps are going to be on your phone or what apps are going to be on your iPad, because you had your own iPad, which all of us are going to have this year, which is cool. So you made the decision of what was going to be there, and you didn't stray from that, allowing your focus to completely be enveloped by the doors. And that's something that I thought was awesome, is like how much throughout the summers your pitch and how you even spoke on the doors changed. Like little by little by little, every single day, like because your focus wasn't here and it wasn't on your friends or social media or other people or even the supposed problems of the area, your focus was allowed to be creative to your pitch.
And that's, I think, the key that comes from focus on the doors, is that your mind has one intent, and then that creativity comes where your mind can problem solve as well.
Yeah. And something huge that I think you did really well, can you talk about for a second, is do we have time for another minute?
Yeah.
minute and a half. Yeah.
is how well you kind of broke the ice at the beginning and built rapport with people instead of just rushing into the pitch and building rapport. Could you talk about just how you developed that and what that looks like?
So it was probably around June where I realized that I really had no business talking to someone I didn't have trust with, like no business at all. So I made my primary focus to be, so the precursor to trust is breaking preoccupation. And once I could identify that, then I was very task oriented to having one task to do, and that was to break their preoccupation. Because, going back to like reading people's minds, you knock the door and you're like, already know they're not interested. No, like I knock in the door and my sole intent is to just get their mind off the fact that I'm the 10th person there that week. And how do I do that? It's getting creative. It's not being a robot.
Yeah.
I find way too many people, it's just, hey, they can't distinguish between any door-to-door salesman because they're all number one acting the same but being the same and saying the same thing.
Yeah, now everybody's involved in the same pitch.
Right.
So yeah, keep going about how you break the ice and break the preoccupation.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's humanizing it. So I think that's probably the biggest thing is it sounds cliche, but be yourself. If they feel like you are kind of like forcing it, that's immediate walls up. Like when I'm talking to walls, and like if there's a wall up, we can't communicate effectively.
Right.
So my goal is my paradigm is viewing what can I say to you to lower your walls, and that just comes with it's just identifying commonalities. Like if you know anything about dogs, talk about the freaking dog. If you don't. Just bring like a human factor into it, and then that creates to where you can start to influence them, but you can't start to influence someone who doesn't trust you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Guys, sit up for just a second, guys. Thanks, Evan. Thanks for doing that, man. I thought Evan was the best person to most qualified to be dissecting those things from Mateo, just because you've seen it up close. You've watched the evolution and been a big part in the success as well. So thanks, dude. Thanks for being here. Okay, what I'm gonna do now, stand right here, Teo, and guys, I don't know how this is gonna work, but it is, I promise, and it's gonna be really good. Okay.
Where do you want me?
Right there, and you can move a little bit if you want. Maybe you would have to be a little versatile with that and how it works. But I'm gonna move this over just a tiny bit. Yeah, so we can still get you here, and it's not super crazy. Just a second. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to role play with Mateo, and then I'm going to be a customer. And this is how I role play with people during the summer. For those of you guys that have worked with me before, you've seen me do public role plays, oftentimes public humiliations, depending on how long you've been out during the summer. But what I like to do is I'm going to give him no feedback on his pitch, but I'm going to let you guys see as much or as little of the pitch as I think is useful for a bunch of different types of customers. And I'm just going to let you observe for a second. So you'll follow my lead. I'll stop and start. But you want to just try to sell me every time. And then once I start to see something that I really like that I want to point out, I'll have him do it again. And then I'll dissect like how I'm feeling as a customer. So just this context is really helpful. When I'm role playing, I'm putting myself in the customer's shoes and I'm trying to feel like, would I buy from this person? Would I want to even listen to them first of all, and then would I make a buying decision? And I'm trying to be a very real customer. And if you again role play with me, then you know how that feels based on what the doors actually look like. So I'll just be a customer. Go ahead and start and try to sell me, and I'll give you a few different looks. Yeah. Can I help you?
Hey, how's it going today?
Fine. What do you need?
You the king of the castle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I catch you at a bad time?
No. What do you need?
Okay. Sorry. Name's Mateo, by the way.
Okay.
What was yours?
It's Hayden.
Hayden. It's a pleasure. Reason for the swing by, I get it. I'll be quick. Have you met Daryl down the street yet?
No. What are you doing?
Oh, it's just the bugs. Reason I mentioned
I've
him,
already got a company. Yeah, I think so.
No, I'll back up. Everyone's got a company. I guess they didn't let you know, but Darren was using Hawks. Amanda, she had home team. Everyone has someone. That's literally why I'm here. It's mainly for spiders. What's it been mainly for you these days?
We don't usually have a problem. I think we're pretty set.
Okay, cool. This time of year, it's mainly like not a ton. That's again like why I'm here. When's the last time you had them come out for you? When was that done?
I'm not sure. My wife takes care of all of it.
Okay, cool. Would you mind grabbing her for me?
She's not in right now.
Okay, cool. Later.
Okay, start over. Yeah, what's up? Can I help you?
Yeah, man. How's it going?
Good. What's up?
Good. You the king of the castle?
Yeah.
It's a pleasure. Name's Mateo. What was your name?
It's Hayden. Nice to meet you.
Cool. Reason for the swing by, I won't bug you for too long, is we finished up a few people on that side of the street, just coming for this one as well. Are you new here as well, or like do you know most people?
No, we've been in the neighborhood for a while.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So you know that everyone has spiders. It's like they're freaking terrible here. It's mainly the big wolf spiders, some black widows. It's honestly like not a ton, but everyone has someone. When was the last time that was done here?
I think pretty recently, probably within the last month.
Cool.
We're not upset with our company or anything.
Great.
But
And,
thanks
who
for
you signed up
stopping
with?
by. I'm with ABC Company.
Perfect. You've been here when they treat, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm here sometimes. We haven't been
You're not
here
like
super
you're
long.
not
But
like supervising every
Yeah,
process. Cool.
I don't have time for that.
Well, Hayden, bear with me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they'll spray the outside. They'll do a really solid job, like pretty thorough. They'll go about 5 feet out from the house, do the eaves inside if you ask. Anything special besides that?
Not. I mean, it's whatever I need, they'll take care of
Cool.
it. So.
Well, obviously, you seem like a smart man. You probably wouldn't stay with them if they didn't. But let me show you this. Tell me what you think. No big deal. But can you see this right?
Yeah.
Cool. So when we come out, we're not doing anything huge. It's nothing like better. It's just different. So when I come out, we're really not super focused on the home, like just the home. It's mainly the yard where the bugs come from.
Okay.
So if you can see this right here, you know what a granule is?
Yeah.
Cool. So it's like call it like a little sand.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. Diane, she was with ABC. She really thought it was awesome because pets are kids.
Yeah, we've got a dog and a couple
Okay.
kids.
Cool. She had dogs as well. Is that these granules, what they do is that they repel bugs off the yard, so she didn't have to worry about the fleas for her dog. So saved her number one on the vet bill, but also she didn't have to worry about the bugs making their way from the yard to the house. It was like stopping where they come from. You follow me?
Yeah.
Cool. Is this a 3 or a 4 bed?
I think of 4 bedrooms.
Okay.
How much do you guys cost?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, can you see this right?
Yeah.
So when I come out, so if you were to call us, obviously full price it's normally pretty expensive. It's $239 to start. Super cheap after that. It's $159 a season. Best part is, Hayden, is I'm sure ABC does the same, like everyone does. You see anything, don't go to Home Depot. Just call me.
Okay.
Come back out for free. But I also rotate product. You know what that means?
No. I mean, I think we're paying a lot less than you guys. So.
For sure. So what we do, so we actually rotate it because what ABC is doing is they're putting the same stuff on time after time after time. We actually like to switch it up because bugs adapt based on the season, time of year, weather, so the bugs don't actually get used to it. Great for the dog. But hey, check this out. Stay with me. I think you like this. You're surrounded by a lot of people being treated. So honestly, it would help me out if you can, if you'd be willing to give us a shot. What I'd be willing to do is I'd bring the 239 and just go for $99. And that's everything. Front to back, side to side, top to bottom, inside, attic, garage, everything. Are you here the rest of the day?
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I'm gonna be working, but
Okay. It's all right. We'll just stick to the outside. What was your last name?
let me just talk with my wife about it, and I can get back to you. If you leave me with the card,
Yeah.
I'm happy to call you if I
For sure.
need anything.
Yeah, and then let me ask you this. Does the idea of upgrading to the yard as well as the house, do you like that idea? Does it make sense? Like why I focus on that?
I'm sure it makes sense. I just need to talk with my wife.
Well, of course, I don't want you on the couch for pest control. But Hayden, like you're right. If you really don't focus on the yard, I'm not saying there's no point, but might as well just go do it yourself. Similar stuff. Real thing Diane liked is
Okay, sorry. There's so much good here. Okay, stop. The first thing. Okay,
there's something that you say at the beginning when I gave you an objection for I already have a company. What's your transition from that in staying into your pitch? So let's start right there. I want to see if you do it
the first
again.
one? Like the first time you said it?
Yeah, so I'm gonna basically. I realized that you're with someone. I'm like, oh, dude, we already have a company. Thanks for stopping by, though. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I actually like really excited.
Yes. Okay. So do that. All right. So do what you did, because that's what I'm pointing out.
Okay.
So hey man, thanks for stopping by. Oh, I've already got a company.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. So watch this. If you look at Mateo's face as he's getting this objection, one, it makes me feel like you've heard that 1,000 times, 1,243 times exactly. But it gives me the feeling like if that's how he reacts to the fact that because basically what I'm telling you is like, hey man, I'm trying to be nice, but like I don't really want to deal with this right now. I do already have a company. They may or may not be all right, but like, please just go away. I'm like busy. This is inconvenient for me. But then when I say, hey, I'm set, man. I already have a company, and he's like excited about that. The way you did it, it was like impulsive almost though. You're like, you couldn't help but just be like, oh, perfect, man. Of course. Who did you guys use? And then you're inquisitive too, right? You're like, who are you guys with?
Right. It's almost piggybacking off that. It's like, oh, I knew you were gonna say that. I should have said something before. So you shouldn't. So you didn't need.
Sorry, let me back up.
That's me. Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, yeah. Obviously, I forgot my. Everyone's got a company. Like, it's okay.
So that in and of itself is very brilliant. I would say it's pretty advanced to do that, where you're like, tell me you already have a company.
Yeah, man, I've already got someone.
Dude, I'm so sorry. I should have started with that. Everybody does. All my customers have one as well. Who are you guys with? And now I'm like inquisitive,
that's
right?
Exactly, because no one's ever done that to them. It's like every other pitch I do say that, but I forgot to say that to you. And sometimes I'll actually say that. I'll say that I'm like, freak. Usually in my intro, everyone's got a company, so I'll just tell you I have a company, so you don't even say that. And I'll tell that to the person. And
there's some meta crap going on there with that. That was cool. Okay.
No, because even if like I'm not expecting it, because you get some weird crap on the doors, it's just
like, oh,
it's like it's okay.
Yeah. But so fundamentally, your paradigm is like if somebody is giving you an objection, that is something to be excited about, because what they're not saying, hey, like get the F off my property yet. Mm-hmm. Maybe they are, but like this customer is not saying that. They're saying like, hey dude, I just don't trust you. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to give you a smokescreen to say like, just please go away if it stumps you. But in the attempt to stump you, your body language is just screaming to me like, I've heard this a million times before. And I've served all of the customers that said that to me before, and they all love what I gave.
They all said the same thing.
Listen, I'm so sorry. I should have started that. Why did everyone said the same thing to me, actually? But they love my service. They're so happy they upgraded. So let me tell you why, though, okay? So who did you say you were with? And now you're like inquisitive, right?
Right.
But what I was getting at is like, as the customer, I really try to put myself in the mind of a customer when I'm role playing. Otherwise, I think role playing serves no purpose except for to grab a 5-pound dumbbell and pretend like you're doing curls, when in reality, you're only doing the motion and you're not actually getting stronger, right? So in order for me to help with that, I put myself in the mind of the customer, and I'm saying like, how do I feel when that happens? Well, how I feel when you say, oh, sorry, let me back up. Everybody has a company, and a lot of them have been upgrading. Who are you guys with? So notice how like what you did was you're like, I should have started with that. I know. So first off, in my mind, I'm like, that's weird. He's excited. And this is unconscious, right? But I catch it. I'm aware now because I've been doing this for a long time. So at first it's unconscious. I'm like, why is he excited about that? But then I'm still trying to think of how I can tell you the next thing to go away. Mm-hmm. But in note, like right as I'm trying to get there in my own mind as a customer, you come at me with this like inquisitive, no, like I really care feel, right? It's like, it's so hard to keep up with if I'm trying to give you an objection. And so I'm not even thinking about giving you an objection anymore. I'm like all in listening to you, which is why I didn't actually give you objections many after that until the price, because as a customer, if you can oscillate between those like paraverbals and tonalities and just say like, hey, I'm excited that you told me that objection. And by the way, who are you guys with? And now you're inquisitive. It's like, I can't keep up with telling you no at that point. You've infiltrated my psyche in a way that is like, really effective to get me to say yes to you later, because now you're charismatic. I'm like, but the thing is, like, if someone just listened to you talking, would you characterize Mateo as like the most energetic person in the world? No, probably not, because you're you're like even keeled and calm, yet that is incredibly charismatic to where you're like, yeah, no, I'm sorry, I should have started. Like, who are you guys with, by the way?
And
You see what I mean?
I do. If you're saying is like kind of human, I feel like.
Very. It's human, but in specifically as you are doing things that take me off guard in a positive way, in the way you are programmed to react to objections, that is how you break down barriers from like a paraverbal and from a nonverbal perspective. A couple other things I want to point out. Just give me your intro again. Yeah, what's up, man? Can I help you?
Yeah, man. How you doing today?
Great, thanks. What's up?
It's good. You the King of the Castle?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Well, you're busy. I get it. Name's Mateo, by the way. Reason I'm stopping.
Okay, stop right there. Look at his body language right now. So, as we always talk about, you want to have open body language and not closed body language, right? Now, you're not necessarily like doing the stance where you're like all your weight on one foot. However, if you still look at how casual he is, he's kind of like ready at attention. But this point right here, where you're like still looking at me and your body language is as open as it is, if you go back and rewind this, you're doing that or some version of that your entire pitch as you're talking to me. It's really calming, like from a body language perspective. So if I'm the customer, I'll do it again, and I'm going to come out kind of. I'm going to throw you off here on this one.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey. Whoa. Everything all right?
What do you need, man?
They didn't tell you?
You're like the fifth guy that stopped by today. I'm not in the mood to talk to any more door or
No, I get it, but they didn't let you know.
Literally, if I have to deal with more of you guys, I'm like, I'm definitely gonna call the cops.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'll actually just be like super quick because I get it. Like that sucks.
Okay, sorry. I only did that because I revealed what I was actually gonna do. Okay, go ahead. Start over again.
I don't.
I bounce on those. By the way.
Exactly. If you,
Bro, hey, I'm so sorry. I'll definitely leave it.
If you caught me like 2 summers ago when you were like, that would have worked. But
Yeah, okay,
I'm
go
not
ahead.
wasting time on that.
Yeah, it's me neither. Yeah, can I help you?
Yes. Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Good.
What do you need?
Just King of the Castle. Is he around?
Yeah, it's me. Can I help you?
Okay, it's a pleasure. I get a lot of gatekeepers sent on me, so it's kind of refreshing to see you out here.
Yeah, what do you need, man?
Anyway, what was your name, by the way?
It's Hayden.
Hayden. It's Mateo. It's a pleasure. Reason I'm stopping by, I'm actually
Okay, so
finishing
again,
up-
notice how calm the body language is, even as I'm talking to you, like in kind of an adverse way, right? If you can train yourself how to do that, and this is something that's very simple that like rookies can do, but it honestly attributes to people selling 400 or 500 accounts that can do it consistently. The problem is that most people haven't trained themselves enough to be able to do it consistently on the door. So like, if you can act that way, what I feel as a customer, if I'm like giving you like that kind of like harsh, I'm greeting you harshly, as you kind of meet me first, and then you're just calm again. So like I'm wanting you to like react, and then you're like, yeah, or you didn't say that, but you basically are just like bringing me back down.
I meet you, and then I want you to where I am.
Yeah. So then you're asking me another question. You're like, hey, dude, I'm so sorry. I'll be very fast. It's like, hey, I'll be quick. Or what's your name?
But
I'll be really fast.
Can I add on that?
Go for
I
it.
say, by the way, for a lot of those first questions, as kind of like a buffer.
By the way?
Yeah, what was your name, by the way? And
I've heard this before. Where did you get that?
I don't know.
I say by the way a lot.
No, you do.
I don't know if that's where you got it from, but I would like to think so. You're
No,
welcome for
I was gonna see if you call it that, but obviously.
Go ahead.
Anyway, by the way, you obviously know a lot more than this, but a lot of these questions, especially from the get-go,
Yeah.
when you're trying to seem inquisitive, you need to land it with a buffer. Otherwise, it can be, regardless of how good your tonality are,
Interesting.
you need to have that by the way at the end. Because if you just say, what was your name? It's
Dude,
like.
So I've actually never caught why that works that well. Because I've always thought of it as just like you can extend the like friendly feeling.
Yeah.
But you're saying that it works. So like if I'm asking you something inquisitive and I don't know you, so like obviously if you're cold calling someone, then you can just expect that they probably don't want you there.
Right.
And so if I am trying to ask you a question as if I'm your best friend, like people see through that. So if I just say, hey, so how many kids do you guys have, by the way?
And
That's like a lot. And obviously, I'm gonna have asked a couple more questions before that, but like,
and you know what? By the way, like subconsciously, I like to think that they think of when he's saying "by the way," it's for a purpose.
right.
Like he's not just saying that as a fake way to like build
interesting.
a relationship. It's like no, he's saying that because not only he really wants to
So
know, but
good.
he has a purpose in saying that.
So this is for me also a lesson in, and I hope it's okay that we're kind of bouncing around to a few things here, but like this is a lesson in scripting as well. So like I always added "by the way" into my script because I felt that when I was originally asking at the very beginning of my pitch was like, what provider do you use already? That if I didn't do that well enough, like perfectly, then people would not give me the most favorable reaction for the majority of the for the most amount of like occasions. You're right, like on a percentage basis.
Right.
So what I started doing was saying like, who do you guys use for pest control, by the way? That's so much. It's so much more genuine, and like what you're saying is like, oh, now that gives me a purpose for asking it genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it could potentially seem fake because like I wouldn't ask that genuinely unless I had like pre-planned that or something, right?
Bingo. That's.
But the scripting, and then now we're going to talk about pre-planning it. Scripting those types of words into your script are really important. And as you watch Mateo's entire pitch, like up and down, you see that there's these very planned things that help you be perceived in the way that you're wanting to be perceived, so that you can influence them to make that buying decision, right? That's fascinating. The importance of the script.
You know exactly. If I can add on to it, I do not want to make it a decision. I want to make it to where I'm making the decision. So and then they have to tell me no after I've like made that decision.
Oh my gosh! Wait, say that again.
So I'm trying to make them raise their certainty enough by a lot of, I guess soft closing is a way to think about it, is like raising their certainty enough to where after I give price, then I'm just closing on the spot and waiting for an actual objection, which usually won't come.
That's brilliant. So when you're soft closing, what you're actually referring to, it's not when you ask for the sale. You're saying like, are you following me here?
Checking in.
Is that what you're referring to? Like getting them to agree to specific points of the sale?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And this relates, but silence is so powerful when checking in. If you ask someone and they don't respond immediately, it is our human nature to fill that void and you're like, oh crap, I said something wrong, I need to keep going.
Yeah.
No, but silence actually gets them to think. And when you can get that affirmative out of them based on their actual knowledge, choosing the yes.
Yes, dude.
Then that's when all of the yeses actually add up to.
Dude, that's brilliant. Right. So I think if correct me if I'm wrong, but like this is the thing that I always say about if I can get you to agree that it makes sense voluntarily, then you'll feel pretty dumb when I ask you to buy if you don't actually end up buying it from me. Or at the very least, if I can get you to agree that it makes sense along the way. So every pivotal point of the sale that would make it so that like it's a compelling yes at the end, if I can get you to voluntarily agree that those things make sense, then when it comes time for me to ask for the sale, at the very least, I'm going to get more real objections out of you.
That's
and then I can actually solve them, right?
Exactly. It's the formula to get rid of smoke screens and actually get to solving objections. Because that's the thing is like, if I get a no there, then I know it's like 98% of the time it's actually real.
So give me an example, because you did one. Will you just do a more brief feature and benefit, and then maybe show me what you mean by checking in, so that people know like how that sounds?
For sure.
And even the silence thing too. I'm going to be two different types of customers, so do it twice.
Okay.
And what you'll see why this is really actually super effective.
So after this,
just give a brief feature and benefit, and then whenever you would naturally check in for the agreement.
Cool. And hey, if you follow me here. You know what these guys are?
I mean, I gotta take those down. Yeah, they're spider webs, but
no. Like, do you see what the white? You know what those are?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I've never looked. No, I have no idea.
All right, so those are spider eggs.
Okay.
And what happens is
you're literally already doing it by just waiting for me to answer. Okay, keep going.
And I'm not afraid to like say no. That's the thing. A lot of people are like, if they do that and then they say that wrong thing, they're gonna agree with them because
no. But do you see?
No, it's like no. that's raising their search and showing them that you're the expert. And then I don't want to say they feel dumb because that's just kind of, but they feel like, oh no, I need to listen up because I'm missing something.
Right.
But no, Hayden. So these are spider eggs. What happens is there's dozens of little eggs, and once they hatch, you see this gap up here, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem with these homes, man. Is that they're nice, but they're just totally sealed up. Everyone has the same problem. DR Horton freaking sucks. But hey, so what I need to do is that when you said you're with ABC?
Yeah, XYZ company.
Okay. XYZ. They did a good job. They'll sweep everything down. The reason they keep coming back is because of the pheromones. I leave a repellent up there that's actually going to deter those eggs from re-nesting. You know what that's going to do for you? Why should you even care? It's because number one, your wife is going to continually complain about spiders being inside.
Hopefully not about me if I don't have spiders anymore.
Right. But also, it's going to pretty much provide a barrier for that gap. So in the wintertime, when the bugs are looking for somewhere warm, they're crawling up inside and your kids are waking up at 3 a.m. because they're sleeping with the spiders. You follow me?
I think they do spider stuff too.
Right. Everyone sweeps it down, but are you following me how the repellent up there makes the difference? You see
That right there. So I don't even need to be a second type of customer because I was trying to be someone who's like might get distracted and maybe I missed something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by you, that's the check-in where Mateo's like, you follow me here? So that check-in, it's some people call this a trial close. That's what Russell Brunson calls it, is a trial close. People will use trial closes on stage, but trial closes are really misconceived. Like oftentimes I've heard it poorly described as like you just get them to say yes 100 times and then they say yes at the end. It's like, the sky is blue, right? Yeah, okay. You want to buy from me? And they're like, no, it doesn't work. But what you're doing, it's very different. You're not just waiting for a voluntary yes. This is one step further than how I've taken it actually, because I've always said like, I check in to say, does that make sense? And I let you respond, but I usually move on actually, because I just assume that they missed the feature and benefits, so I need to give more. But what you're doing is brilliant because you're checking in, you're waiting for the voluntary response. And if it's unfavorable, because you already decided that person's going to be your customer and you are going to serve them, you're going to clarify again, because in your mind, you're like,
exactly.
No, clearly this makes sense though. So like, let me show you here. No, it's okay. Let me show you. Like, watch. No,
right.
Yeah. Most people don't get it the first time. It's fine.
And the cool thing about that is because that's such I don't want to say the word emotional deposit, but it's like, hey, I value you understanding this. Like, I value your intelligence. I think you're smarter than this, so I'm gonna re-say what I said.
That's fascinating because, like, and I when I say make people feel dumb, it's mostly just a funny way of thinking about it. But what I'm really trying to say is actually, we're trying to serve our customers at the highest level, and so I love your approach because your paradigm is essentially, my service is so good that if I can just get you to actually listen to why it's so good, it'll be a no-brainer for you. So if you didn't hear it, like, I understand you got a lot going on. I'm not going to insult your intelligence by saying like, hey, you don't get this, like, you're stupid. Instead, you're like, no, let me just show you. Like, it's okay. And so you value them understanding. That's fascinating, dude.
So it's two things. Number one,
really, really compelling.
First was what you said is because it is really important that in a market where you have a company that you understand the difference, because the problem is if I don't create a compelling value on that, they're gonna say that. So that
they're
just
gonna
means,
say what?
Oh, I think my company does that too with the spiders.
Yeah. But why do they say that though? Because they're not really paying attention usually, or they still just want you to leave, which is also saying like, I don't quite trust you, maybe, but I don't quite trust you.
And then that's just cue for, okay, I need to restate my value, and how do I?
Fascinating, dude.
Yeah.
So you're never really wasting a feature and benefit set or a value set. You're always going back to it and saying like, no, I've determined that this is actually so valuable, like it's worth understanding, and it's worth you understanding because you understanding it means that I get to serve you as one of my customers.
And with your understanding, I am so confident in our value of our service, then your certainty is higher than if I were just to move on with I guess. With you clearly understanding the value of that, and I can read the certainty, then I have moving on. That next close is going to be way more effective.
Dude, okay. So last thing, and then we need to end finish, but like, Evan, do you think this is worth doing more of these like this? This is fascinating. Yeah. Okay, so when I give you the first objection after price, right? You close me for the first time, like legitimately, you're asking for the sale. And I say, you know what, just leave me with the card. I think we're set, but like if I need anything, I'll get back to you. Let me just talk to my wife, and we'll let you know if we need anything. You do the deflection, which is like incredible. So I understand. Like, take your time. I want you to make it neutralize. But I deflect that. I'm not going to address your objection whatsoever. Hey, like, I get it. Make a good decision. Like, that's what I want for you. Okay, genuinely. But let me just ask you a question. And then I really want to know. Hypothetical, right? Let me just ask you a question. Hypothetically speaking, in that parallel set, does the idea of upgrading to my service and getting the yard actually treated, does that make sense? Like, do you like the idea of potentially upgrading?
Do you see the value in that?
That's what you said. Do you see the value in that? Okay. So then, what did I say though? Because this is classic what customers do. Every time I train salesmen on this, they're like, "Yeah, I did the deflection, but then they said the objection again." I'm like, no, duh, dude. Of course they said it again. Just do the deflection and reiterate it. But that's what you did brilliantly. You're like, so do it for me really fast. I'll point out what I mean here.
Okay.
Just give me a card. I'll get back to you. Sure. If I talk with my wife, and we'll see what she says.
Yeah.
If we need anything, we'll let you
know. I definitely want you guys to be on the same page. But hey, let me ask you this: does the idea of upgrading to getting not only just the house sprayed, but the entire yard treated, do you like that idea? Do you see the value in that?
I mean, yeah, sure, but I just need to talk to my wife, and I'll let you know. Just leave a card.
For sure. Yeah, and like I said earlier, like, hey, I'll be honest with you, I want you to make a good decision. Like, I get it, but you see how the yard, as itself, if you treat the yard, bugs aren't gonna make it to the home. Like, just the idea, like say, it doesn't matter if you sign up. Does the idea of that make sense?
Yeah, so most people right there, they're already moving on to the next feature and benefit. Like, literally was my paradigm previously before I started selling a lot. Was like, no, you just move on to the next feature and benefit. You convince them, you raise their certainty. But instead, what you're doing is like, you're still checking for understanding again. And like, no, hey, you get what I said though, right? Like, no, but I'm not asking you to make a decision, but like, does it at least make sense? Like, could you see yourself doing it? Do you see enough value that you could see yourself doing it down the road at least?
It's saying in a way, like, dude, like, okay, I heard you the first time, but not in an insulting way. Like, okay.
Yeah.
But back to me. Like,
oh, bro.
Just letting
the customer off the hook.
No.
Because you value them understanding.
That's insulting to yourself. Like, do you, like, come on, like, you should value yourself more than that. Like, come on. We're adults here. Let's skip the funny business. Like, come on.
So, and that is the difference between going through the motions and actually hitting because I started to really when things really started clicking for me, dude, and when we were just smashing it.
When was that? Was that July?
No, May is when I started having like really.
When you were doing like your 50 week. So end of May.
Yeah, so when really I was actually able to get some time on the doors and we started really crushing it. That clicked in my head.
2 years ago.
Oh yeah, well, I mean last year as well, but it just reemphasized how I felt already about this. But when we really started crushing it, and when I specifically felt like there was a shift in my like ability to get to persuade, like a market shift where like I started to feel that if I got out of the car and I looked down the street at all the houses, like I was actually in control of my day. That did not feel that way to me previously in my career. Like,
it's so empowering.
It felt like, oh, I just need to be confident, and hopefully people will start saying yes to me. And if I work the hours, I'm at least going to get 3 sales, maybe on a good day 5 to 7, and that's how it can be. And you can have an incredible summer doing that, right? But I did not feel in control in those days. I did feel in control of my work and the fact that I think I would get those results, and I usually did. But when I started to feel like I was the freaking master of my destiny, and it was starting with this street. Whenever I would walk out of the car and I would look down the street and I would just be like, freaking game on, dude. Like, I don't even care who's in those houses. Like, there are people saying yes to me. Mm-hmm. And soon, like right now. So I would sell like the first 2 or 3 houses that I would talk to, and that happened for like days and days in a row. But what happened, my shift in the way I was like working was I started to view each of the call them loops or like objection cycles or like steps to the sale. I stopped viewing them as like check the box and like as soon as I do it, I'm done. And I started viewing it as like I have to take the customer through each of these checkpoints.
Right.
And that's exactly what you're doing. Instead of just saying, hey, I mean, yeah, but do you like the idea? Does it make sense? Like, how are you feeling about it? And they're like,
the paradigm of like, I just need to get to force.
oh yeah, I just got to get to the force scope pattern somehow. It's like magically going to work. And it's like, no,
Right.
I have to take you through that checkpoint. And if for some reason you give me the objection again, and I can feel you didn't actually hear what I'm saying, I'm gonna be like, no, dude, sorry, I'm literally not pressuring you, but does everything I've said make sense? Like, you see the actual value in getting the yard treated as well, because that's where the bugs live, so they don't make their way up into the house, and so you're not paying extra and having to worry about it. Like, is that valuable to you at least? Again, hypothetical, right?
Right.
Now when you're like, yeah, it's pretty. I mean, I definitely, but you don't say anything else. Now I'm like, okay, now I can
Exactly.
now I can raise your certainty more.
It's not because you checked the box because they did.
Brilliant, dude. Freaking fascinating. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely fascinating. We're gonna end there, although there's just so. I'm like watching you the whole time. I'm like, okay, how do I make a couple of these points of the 100 make sense? Yeah, thank you guys for Evan. Thanks for doing this tonight, and Mateo, thank you for doing this. I hope this isn't the last time. Let's definitely do it again, guys. Thanks for watching our live training tonight. Go back and watch this over and over again. This was fascinating. I'm just really grateful for you, Mateo. Grateful for your work ethic and your example. And when I say example, I don't just mean in sales. I mean in things a lot more important than that. Yeah, let us know if you guys have any questions, and we'll be looking out in the comments. Thanks, man.
Sweet.